Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you a little bit different of a video. It's going to be my top 10 tips for new or returning players who want to be competitive. Now, when I say competitive, I'm talking about the pursuit of an invite. Competitive players, casual players, we all have different ideas of what we want from the game. A competitive player, at least me anyway, I'm always after my invite. I want to get to the highest event that I can possibly get to. I want to become the best player that I can possibly be. And there's a lot to becoming a good player. But becoming a good player means something different to everybody. So, just want to clarify that. Let's hop right into the list. At number 10, forget everything you know about high school playground Yu-Gi-Oh! The competitive environment is different in the sense that things are streamlined. There are strategies that you need to be aware of. There are technical play. There's all these different things that just you don't worry about when you're playing for fun with your friends. But when you're playing for fun with your friends, there are a whole bunch of different things that are applied to your games that just aren't in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! So forget everything you know. Be willing to learn. I think there's a squirrel trying to get to my bird feeder. Oh well, whatever. Anyway, number 9, find a better player and make them your friend. If you are not good at making friends, I apologize. But the point is, you don't want to surround yourself with people who are just as good as you are. You want to surround yourself with people who are better than you are, because you can only go up from there. You will be the one constantly trying to bring yourself up to their level. And when you do, you're going to have improved, and you're going to be a better player because of it. In fact, this hangs true in life. Not even just Yu-Gi-Oh! But I'm not even going to get into that one. Once you get to their level, find people who are even better than them. Does that mean completely abandon them? No. No, that's not what I mean. But constantly find people who are better than you. You'll become much better because of it. But it's that constant pursuit of greatness that is really important for a competitive player. Or somebody who's just trying to improve, whether it be in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or real life. But I'm not going to get that deep into that. So, next tip. Number 8, don't be afraid of hate. Every community is filled with hate, especially that of card games, Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, any of them, Vanguard, whatever. Full of hate. Unfortunately, that's just the environment that happens to lend itself to card games. I'm not quite sure what it is. And it's slightly more concentrated than like pretty much anything else for some reason. But I'm not trying to throw shade on everything, but whatever. That's not the point. Don't be afraid of the hate. They're just not worth your time. You're better than them. You are worth more than them. And at the end of the day, you are trying to bring yourself up. But they're only ever trying to bring yourself down. And when you're trying to bring people down, you're only going to bring yourself down even lower than you are right now. Good example. People who hate or who, you're playing Mystic Mine and you activate Mystic Mine, and because your opponent doesn't like Mystic Mine, they pause the game and wait for you to quit. You know what you do in that situation? You quit. Your time is worth more than them. Would you work for, 8 hours a day making scum per hour? No, don't waste your time on them. You know what they're willing to do for that entire hour? Sit down and wait and not be productive so that you quit because they wanted to one-up you because they don't like the deck that you're playing. Those people are worthless. Don't bother yourself with them when you are trying to become a better player. Sorry, I got a little bit heated on that one. Next, technical play. Technical play is really important for every game. Really cool exercise that I have for people who I'm trying to teach is, there are 2 decks in here. Both of these decks are exactly the same cards, the exact same 40 card construction. And what I mean technical play, I'm talking about move order, what cards to play first, what cards to play when, whatever. If you take a look at the construction of these decks don't have any power cards. They don't have any kind of like big blowout cards. I mean, I think the best you get is like Summon Skull or something like that. Oh, actually Gores technically. But in fact, actually Pero Cerberus happens to be a blowout card. Anyway, there's nothing special about them. There are 40 cards exactly the same, 2 decks, but the person with the better technical play will always win. So, technical play is really important because that moves over to today's game when it comes to like move order, what cards to attack first, what to search first, all of that stuff. It all adds up. So it's important to practice technical play. I would encourage newer players to take a look at GOAT format. GOAT format is a format in which really encourages and rewards technical play. It's also really fun, and many people play it, and it's a great investment, just long term. All right, next is play in real life. There's nothing better than touching the cards, feeling the cards, playing the cards. You need to play in real life because you need to get used to interacting with people in real life, interacting with the cards, interacting with rulings, interacting with time. Time specifically is really important, especially when you are at a larger event. And unfortunately, that's not something we had to worry about before these new time rules. But even before the new time rules, I still would have told you to play in real life. So it's really important to get physical contact with the cards. Net deck is number 5. Don't be afraid to net deck. As a newer player, as a casual player, as a non-competitive player, you don't know how to deck build. The new decks, anyway. You don't know the intricacies of that because the decks are built nowadays at a competitive level to beat other competitive level decks. Whereas in a casual setting, maybe you'll play your deck to try and counter your other friends or whatever, but at a competitive environment, it's completely different because you probably won't know what decks or what cards beat what. So net deck. Don't be discouraged by it. A lot of people discourage net decking, and I have yet to hear a good reason why you shouldn't net deck. A good reason. I encourage you to find one. You can't. Anyway, number 4, don't be discouraged by losing. Even competitive players fall into this. I personally have this weird thing in the back of my head that's like a lifetime win-loss record. And that gets me into trouble because it will prevent me from playing games casually. Because I'm afraid of losing. Don't do that. That prevents you from practicing. That prevents you from wanting to play the game going forward. And it's something that I'm constantly battling with and working with. But I acknowledge it and I'm trying to be better. That's because I'm a competitive player. And you guys should follow suit. You guys should find what your flaw is and work on that. I know what my flaw is and I'm working on it and have been for quite a while. So don't be discouraged by losing. You're going to lose. No matter what. If you've never lost, then you're the best player and you don't need this list. But you're going to lose, even if you are the best player in the world. The best player in the world has like a 77% win rate. So they're losing 23% of the time. It's 1 in 5. Whatever happens. But you need to lose because of my next tip, which is play every deck. Build every deck. You need to get to the point where you know what the cards do without having to read them. I mean, read the cards. For the love of God, read the cards. But you need to get to the point where you don't really need to in order to have an idea of what's going on. Now, when you play the decks and you lose, you'll know why you lost, and you can use that as fuel for going forward in your competitive events. Good example. I hate Sky Strikers. I'm sorry. I will be vocal about it. I hate playing against Sky Strikers. And I have for a whole year. And I've played against so many of them that I know what the cards do, and I picked up the deck literally a week ago, and I knew what every card did, and I'm playing it proficiently without ever having played the deck. That's because I knew what the cards did, and I didn't have to read any of the cards. But my advice would be to pick up a deck and play it, every meta deck. Right now there are 4 of them, and just so that the video doesn't age well, I'm not really going to mention them. But pick up those decks, play them. You have the benefit of using Dueling Network. Dueling Book. It's Dueling Book now. Dueling Book. Free to play, whatever. Pick it up, play them. Next is master one deck. Find one of those top decks that you really enjoy. Master it. Play it as much as possible. Get proficient with it to the point where you're beating the other 3 decks. Don't even have to be consistently, even if you're just 50-50, but you want to master that deck. A good example, I change decks almost every single regional, and most of the time it's at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't do that. The past 3 events that I went to, I played Thunder Dragons in all 3 of them. The first one that I went to, I didn't do too well because I lost to myself. I did not know what the combos were, but I wouldn't play the combos in such a way that I was avoiding things like hand traps or playing around certain things. The next event I went to, I was like, you know what? I know Thunder Dragon. I picked it up and I played it, and I was really, really comfortable with the deck. That is really valuable. I did even better than I did before. The last event that I went to, I was even more comfortable with the deck, and I did even better than the time before. So, play a deck that you are used to. Play a deck that you like. Play a deck that you have mastered and played before, and that you are constantly playing. Because that comfort at a large level event, if you're new, you're going to be really on edge, You're not going to know what's going on. You're going to want some kind of comfort. And at the very least, the deck that you're playing, you should be comfortable with. All right. Number one, and I apologize for those of you who get offended easily, but number one is you don't know anything. You don't know anything. That's not your fault, and it's just a fact. If you're a casual player and you're going into a competitive event and you find somebody who's willing to teach you and you're finding somebody who is willing to give you advice and all of this, you don't know as much as they are. Unfortunately, those scrubs on Dueling Book that want to pause that game to try and make you quit, they know more than you because you don't know anything as a casual or a non-competitive player. You just don't know anything about, and when I say anything, I'm talking about being competitive. And that's okay. You need to accept that and you need to embrace that so that you can move forward. Just like in life, if you don't know anything about something, you shouldn't go around pretending that you do because you're not going to improve. What that's going to do is make you avoid those situations in which you can learn. And you don't want to do that as a new player. You want to dive headfirst into those situations where you have no idea what's going on because you're going to walk out a better player than you did before. A great example. We have a friend, that one who picked up that deck. I don't know if I told you guys the story before, but he was like, hey, I found some people who play Yu-Gi-Oh! And we handed him True King Dinosaurs, and we taught him how to play in the span of a month. And the first tournament that he ever went to was the one that we brought him to, a month after we taught him how to play. And he got 3 wins out of 9 rounds. That's awesome. That's awesome for a new player, somebody who hasn't really gone to a big event before, not even a locals. His first event that he went to was a regionals, and he got 3 wins at a regionals. That is awesome after 1 month of playing the game. That's because we shoved his head into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And he was willing to go along with it. To this day, right after, we were like, hey, Salamangreats are coming out. You should learn how to play the deck because it's going to be tier 1. Shoved him into that deck, and to this day, he's playing Salamangreats pretty proficiently, and he's doing great. So thankful for somebody like that. So thankful that he is the way that he is. But if you're not willing to dive into it, you're not going to change, unfortunately. And change is one of the best things that can happen to you as a competitive player because you need to embrace change because everything's always changing. All right. That's it for the top 10 tips. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss any of these tips, if you want to share stories, post them in the comments. Also, if you like this format of video, the top 10 list or top 5 or whatever, let me know. I'll do them more in the future. Give me ideas of what you want to see as a top 10 list. I apologize for the background completely going in and out of focus this whole time. I'm using my phone, and I figured this would be a nice backdrop. Lots of natural light. See my pretty face, my pink shirt. So yeah, leave a like. That'd be awesome. And let me know what you guys think. You have a great day. Stay competitive, my friends.